Today I'm going to be ranking every single episode of Close Enough from worst to best. Close Enough is the adult version of Regular Show, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a standalone, really unique experience with all of these really unique, really awesome, and honestly hilarious episodes. That's why I was always really confused when they decided to cancel it after just 3 seasons, because since season 1, it felt like they got the ball rolling right away, and they were just producing so many good episodes, and when adult animation shows tend to usually just go on for maybe 1 season, unless they knock it out of the park, I was really surprised when the show was canceled because upon rewatch, this show still holds up, it's still hilarious, and it just gave me so much, which is why I want to rank every single episode, looking at the comedy, the fights, the villains, every single aspect of every single episode, and ranking them all from worst to best. And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to be cosplaying as Benson at 20,000 subscribers and drinking the Mississippi Queen. And if you would like a place to talk about nostalgic shows, cartoons, movies, video games, art, whatever you really want to talk about, my Discord will be in the description below. It's a great place to hang out. So yeah, let's rank every single episode of Close Enough, a show that disappeared just way too soon.
Hey, chica.
And starting off this list at number 46, it's going to be the episode House Guest from Hell. And this is the only episode that I would say I genuinely really dislike. At least the other episodes, they have some like redeeming quality when they're lower on this list. Like they make me laugh, they have a decent enough story that I actually want to get through it. But this episode is just honestly awful, and it's mainly because of the bitch.
I know that he had sex with my sister and expects me to forgive him? I mean, you're so lucky you've never had to go through pain like this. Anyways, what's up with you, gal?
In this episode, there is a character named Becca who used to be best friends with Emily, and she is just a insufferable human being who only talks about herself.
Stand up for yourself. Say enough is enough, Becca. Or Rick, or what was his name?
Wow, it's Luke. You should listen better.
She's narcissistic, she is just a really bad person, and when Emily tells her to break up with her boyfriend, she does, but it turns out she's pregnant and she moves in with our main crew and is just being horrible the entire time. As her pregnancy slowly begins to show more and more, it's revealed that she is carrying the baby of Satan, with a bunch of like reveals where there's a evil satanic witch that's there to deliver the baby.
Did you say home birth?
All my work has been building to this moment. Come venaret, regnavis treramo, terremque timu erunt.
What's your friend's deal? She's single?
She's like doing really weird things, like causing like locusts and plagues and all that stuff to come. Yeah, it's just kind of funny, but not really. Like nothing actually makes me laugh out loud. I'm just thinking, wow, that's kind of silly. I wish the character that they chose to, you know, be carrying the baby was at least a little bit funny. But no, she doesn't do anything hilarious. She's just being horrible the entire time. Satan himself eventually shows up, is just being a douchebag because that's what you'd expect from that guy. And then Emily eventually has to tell Becca to leave the house while she's giving birth, and that's pretty much the end of the episode.
Becca, and I want you out of my life.
You're such a friggin' bitch!
It's just so whatever. I don't enjoy it at all. I hate when shows decide to make an entire episode focused on a character that you just don't like, that you can't care for, and every time she's on screen, you just want to, you know, just die. Yeah, it's just that bad. Becca is that insufferable that she makes this the worst Close Enough episode, but it gets way better from here, so that's good.
And legend of your long sword hath traveled here.
And at number 45, it's going to be the Erotic Awakening of A.P. La Pearl. And this episode just takes a really, really long time to get the ball rolling, and all the interactions between Pearl and Alex are also just not very good for the majority of it, because this episode is all about how Alex is writing fanfic, well, he's writing his books, and they're erotic books, but because, you know, he's a man, women won't like that because they don't want to imagine a woman getting just, you know, taken down by a big old burly Viking man. If it's written by a man, it has to feel safe, it has to feel, you know, empowering, and it has to be written by a woman. So Pearl decides to be the front, the face, the like so-called author of Alex's books so he could keep on writing them and people will actually read them. And this leads to Pearl, taking it, like she's actually doing it, she's actually the one, she has all these fans, and she starts to believe that she is the one that matters.
It's happening for me.
Technically, it's happening for me.
Sure. We need that book. You keep typing. I'll take care of this.
And so she casts out Alex. And so Alex is super sad, super bummed out, and so they replace Alex with a AI to write it. She goes on Oprah. Yes, she's on Oprah, and while reading it, it just turns out to be horrible.
Long sword again.
There is no sea that can keep us apart. For we Vikings are a seafaring people who during the 8th to 11th century explored wide areas of Europe and sailed as far west as Newfoundland.
So they eventually confess that it was Alex, and this causes everybody to start throwing up, and Oprah and all of her gang of Opies, I don't know, what would you call Oprah fans? Just Oprah fans, or like Oprah Opies? I don't know anything, but either way, they all start trying to kill Alex and Pearl, trying to murder them, but they're able to stop it with the power of Alex writing erotica, because he's a man, and that's pretty much it.
Say something sexual.
Supple flesh? Dewy thighs, engorged member, insistent thrusting, nipple!
It takes like 9 minutes to get to the point where Oprah is trying to kill them, and those first 9 minutes are honestly really boring. That's why I'm ranking it so low. Nothing is really too funny here unless you're into Viking erotica and people geeking out over Viking erotica. Personally, not my cup of tea. Really slow episode, and the ending just honestly didn't even boost it up that much for me.
Josh Singleton, you have violated the lease agreement by hacking Brainio and bypassing the commercials.
And number 44 is going to be the episode Robot Tutor, and this episode is all about how Candace is a little bit dumb.
People make too big a deal about test scores. Candace is fine.
I wrote my name.
So Josh and Emily, they also want to go on a vacation at the same time that Candace has to do this whole thing with a robot tutor, so Josh decides that he's going to hack into it and make it seem like Candace was able to complete all of her courses super fast. And on the other hand, you have Bridget and Alex going on this sweet vacay where they're just, trying to recouple, have some, divorced sex, because that's what you need right after getting divorced to, cement that you don't give a fuck about each other anymore, just to get a little down and freaky with it. But they don't, because Alex meets this like really weird unplugged chick who doesn't do anything with electronics or toilets or anything like that.
I don't even have a toilet.
Well, toilets don't plug in, so...
A toilet plugs into the sewer system, which pollutes the ocean.
Isn't she great?
Are you really gonna turn me down for Susie's of Maine?
I'm actually from Oregon.
It was a natural deodorant joke!
And I found her to be very annoying. I wasn't about her at all. And then going back to the main plot, the robot finds out that they cheated and decides to put them all in like these seats where they are forced to watch advertisements forever. Yeah, pretty crazy. And the best part of this is that Alex and Bridget and this weirdo lady also get kidnapped. And my favorite part of the weirdo lady's character is when she gets murdered. Yeah, she gets vaporized right there. Everybody's in shock, but I just gave it an applause because I was not about her. She did not make this episode better.
Everyone close your eyes and repeat after me. I am in my body. I am in my body.
A quick brain scan told me that she was annoying.
Or add to the comedic premise of it, and then Candace has to save the day by actually answering questions, and it's just kind of boring for me. I will say that the plot is pretty enjoyable for the most part. It's just not gonna make me laugh at any of the scenes. None of the scenes made me want to rewatch this episode. I was entertained nonetheless, like it was, feeding that good old brain, but it wasn't making me be like, oh, this is a good episode. It's just very mediocre, very boring.
Doesn't that seem a little dangerous for a beginner?
How else am I gonna charm a guy in a climbing gym, Emily?
At 43 is the episode Randy Free Solos, and I honestly feel like the Randy episodes are up and down, and this one's kind of a down for me. I mean, I like the beginning of it where Randy accidentally, stumbles into the arms of this guy who he falls in love with, and he just wants to be with him, and it appears that he completes one of the hardest rock climbing challenges ever.
Huh? Hold the phone! Did you just freeze
free solo the vertebraker?
And so, this guy who's also super into rock climbing takes an interest in Randy, and Randy has to try to cover up for the fact that he doesn't actually know how to climb anything, he's never climbed anything, and the lie just keeps going further and further and further, so he keeps on worrying that he's going to lose this dude, and it eventually all culminates when he's like doing this whole rock climb at the end, and he falls and he has to confess.
Whew! Don't worry about it. Feels good to really dominate and... Oh, shit! Ah! Go, go! Stupid cheap last resort!
And that's when the dude's all like, oh, Randy, I don't actually care, Randy. I know you can't climb. You look fat as hell, Randy. And they decide to be together anyway. It's just kind of boring to me. I think, like, the relationship warming is a little bit wholesome, but Randy also isn't even remotely my favorite character in the show. I could, like, leave or take Randy, except for, like, some circumstances. So just an entire episode where it's just, you know, him just being concerned about a lie for the majority of it, and then the big finale with this whole rock climbing was really anticlimactic.
Oh, woohoo!
Randy, don't!
Oh, whoops.
With Pearl just coming and saving them with a helicopter and him falling and activating a safety thing. It was just really mediocre to me. There just wasn't a whole lot that made me scream, yes, we are close enough to enjoyment.
If you got troubles, ain't nothing can fix them like a horse.
At number 42 is going to be the episode Secret Horse, and in this episode, a strange gust of wind is blowing over the town, and that's when a horse just crashes into the ground right in front of all of our folks' house.
If you got troubles, ain't nothing can fix them like a horse.
And this leads to all of them using the horse to just make their lives better. Candace uses it to, like, have a friend, have somebody to play with. Alex uses it to, like, read its manuscripts. Randy goes skating for some reason. Bridget tries to become tranquil and inner peace, all thanks to this amazing horse. I really actually only super enjoyed Emily's use of the horse because, you know, you would think that she would maybe do something to make her feel like a better mom or something, but no, we just get a Avatar reference where she literally turns into a blue person and starts...
Thanks for reminding me to take time for myself. Mom? Candace!
And then when she wakes up, she's naked. So yeah, that was a little bit weird, but it was enjoyable nonetheless. And eventually they all find out that they've all been using this secret horse, and they're just very upset, which causes the secret horse to run away, and they try to chase him. And then we get to the only point of the episode where I actually laughed, where they're just all staring at the horse, and they're all just having the realization that the horse benefited their lives in so many ways, and they have to let him go. He vanishes with the wind, and then they just turn around and he's just pissing on their car. I enjoyed that aspect.
Well, of course he was real.
Everything else was just kind of meh. I mean, it was enjoyable to see the horse helping them out with all these different things. I could enjoy that nonetheless, but everything was just kind of bland to me. There was nothing that was really screaming like, yeah, I'm having a good laugh, having a great time. This is a really cool episode. The horse himself, I think he has a really funny design.
Not late.
But yeah, this episode just didn't have a whole lot going for it for me.
We all have to be the fighter pilots of our own blue skies. And for me, that's teaching Viking mythology to a group of students who are only in it for an easy 2 credits.
And at number 41 is going to be the episode Summer Job, and this episode just is kind of really normal for a close enough episode. Nothing really crazy to happens. The episode is all about Alex getting fired from his job as a PE teacher for a summer class because he's a little bit too extreme.
To be the dean. Ooh.
So this leads to him getting a job with Josh and his two coworkers, where they just go around installing TVs and doing all that electrical stuff. The only thing is that Alex has no idea how to do any of this, so he is just struggling immensely. So this leads to Josh and his two coworkers having to cover for him in every way that they can, and trying to make sure that their boss doesn't find out, because if their boss finds out, he's going to do horrible things to them. And this eventually leads to Alex seeming like he is the best on the team and having to be a project manager, and they have to go and do this big install on top of a building on these suspended platforms, and that's pretty much it. The main climax of the episode is that Josh and his two coworkers start falling when the suspended platform just like tilts, so it's up to Alex to literally just figure out that he could throw. Yeah, that's pretty much it, and he saves them, and then he leaves saying that he doesn't even want the money. So what was it all for? It's just a really average episode where nothing too crazy happens. You could put this in like an episode of Friends, and it would just fit in place there, because nothing crazy is happening, nothing too funny is happening. It's just all very average. Not to say that it's bad by any means, it's just really average to me.
Okay. I can see your butt.
Oh God! I'll see you at home!
At number 40 is going to be the episode The Weird Kid, and in this episode, Emily accidentally makes a wish on this like little Viking gem thing that Alex has that could actually grant wishes for some very odd reason that turns her into a child, because she wants to spend more time with Candace because she feels like they're not really friends. And Candace is just outright avoiding her. And so she gets turned into a child, and for Alex, he's the B-plot of this episode, he also makes a wish when talking to Emily, saying that he wishes to be more emotionally attached to his offspring, but the wish interprets that to actually be, you know, attached to the offspring, the band. So for the rest of the episode, Alex is just addicted to this band, and he wants it so bad, he needs it. I actually enjoyed the B-plot. I thought it was really funny where Alex is just trying to fight the urges to listen to this band. I enjoyed that a lot.
Why do I know all the lyrics?
Everything with Emily trying to be friends with Candace was just okay. It's just her being at school, being tiny, trying to befriend Candace. She eventually does. They become besties, but then she realizes that, oh my gosh, you're my mom, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, and then runs away, and then Emily saves her from bees, so they're able to form an emotional connection. Really wholesome ending to the episode. I enjoyed that they got closer as, you know, mother and daughter. Overall, did anything really make me laugh except Alex being addicted to the offspring? No, not really. All of the other stuff was just very average. Nothing too crazy happening except for the fact that Emily is tiny. I just wasn't enjoying it very much. So yeah, it's ranking pretty low.
Psst, I bought a toothbrush to leave at your place.
And at number 39 is going to be the episode Haunted Couch. And this is one of the reasons that I don't really understand why the show was canceled, because we're at 39 on this list. And this is where I would say that I'm going to stop, you know, just ranting about all these episodes. Yes, they're going to have flaws for a little while, but for the majority, I would call these episodes good. And Haunted Couch is a great example of that. Bridget is just hooking up with a bunch of guys that she ends up getting ghosted by them, which is just very odd. She doesn't understand what she's doing wrong. And at the same time, Josh and Alex find this street couch. They're so hyped about it. Street couch! Street couch! Oh, they're super pumped about this street couch. And Josh, for the entire episode, he's just craving to put his buttocks on that couch. He wants it so goddamn bad. But Bridget is really sad, so she throws herself on there. And that's when she finds out that there is a literal ghost inside of this couch. And Bridget and this dude, they form a little romance. They're getting down and dirty. They even use Randy's body as a literal host so they could do the freaky nasty. And yeah, so yeah, they have this bond. But when Bridget wakes up the next day after they're done with their, you know, silly adult shenanigans, that turns out that she doesn't really like being this close to anybody. And she sees that this ghost has put the toothbrush in the bathroom, and she just loses her mind, keeps trying to avoid it. And it leads to this big blowout argument where it's revealed that Bridget has actually been the one ghosting everybody the entire time because they all want to get closer in the relationship.
I bought a toothbrush to leave at your place.
And Bridget does not like that, and she was just so oblivious to the fact that she was doing that she just thought everybody was ghosting her. Yeah, very funny reveal. I enjoyed that a lot, but they just have a wholesome moment where Bridget breaks up with this guy and he's able to set his soul free because he just had to have a healthy breakup in order to be free. And this episode is pretty good. I enjoyed it for the most part. I would just say it kind of feels down to earth compared to a lot of other episodes that we get with all these crazy, wacky villains, crazy, wacky plot lines, that it just felt a little bit down to earth, even though it was about a ghost inside of a couch. And I just overall, like, it's fine for the most part. I enjoyed it, and Josh never got to sit on that couch. I felt bad for the guy.
Couch? No! 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 Oh, God! I never got to sit on you.
Come on, take a selfie. You know you want to use the filters.
I guess one filter couldn't hurt.
And number 38 is going to be the episode Where'd You Go, Bridget? And in this episode, Bridget is very apparently addicted to her phone, so much so that Pearl pulls her off the streets and tries to help with her phone addiction, which leads to, you know, her actually having genuine withdrawals from her phone. She's going into psychosis, she's having hallucinations, she's having nightmares, and she is just fiending for that cell phone action. And that portion, that part of the episode, I really enjoyed. I thought it was really funny.
Why haven't you checked me, Bridget?
I'm just taking a break.
No one takes a break!
Just to have, you know, actual, like, drug-induced addiction withdrawal symptoms, but it's just because of your phone. I thought that was a really funny way of looking at those kind of things. And then on the other hand, because Bridget hasn't been texting or using her phone for so long, everybody else in the house who's just, you know, on the other side of the wall assumes that Bridget is missing. So in order to rectify this, Emily posts a sexy picture of her saying, "I'm missing," which causes it to go viral, and everybody is looking for her, which leads to these two podcast girls to show up at the house to interview them, and they all put the blame on Emily, Josh, and Alex about her going missing, which leads to a mob forming. But then Bridget just shows up and she's perfectly fine, and she's the only way that they're able to convince the mob that it's actually Bridget if they say it on the cell phone. Yeah, it's just kind of lame. It's really just whatever. I still think for the majority of it, the plot is pretty interesting. The main highlights of the episode is really just the beginning, which is that, like, you know, dream thing that Bridget goes into with this entire, like, plot of her just dealing with her cell phone loss and learning the meaning of actually living in the real world. I enjoyed that aspect of the episode a lot. Everything with the podcast girls was trying to be a little funny, but it really didn't do a whole lot for me. I was still entertained for the whole thing. I'll give you that, but I don't know. I just felt like it was lacking in some areas. And number 36 is the episode Legend of the Pier, and this episode tackles Bridget's former fame on this former app that was like Vine or something where she blew up, so she wants to go back to this beach where she blew up and do a handstand on top of a Ferris wheel, but there's already some other ladies who are really popular on the current popular app that are already going to do that before her, and it leads to this big old thing where Bridget is trying to do it, but she realizes that she can't, and this whole entire fiasco causes the guy to stop the Ferris wheel, and it just starts going crazy and running wild.
Oh shit. It happened again.
And just going everywhere. In the meantime, Josh and Alex and Candace have been trying to find a parking spot this entire time. I liked all of their interactions. I thought that was a little bit funny. And then the, you know, Ferris wheel's just going really crazy, and eventually it's hanging over a cliff, and Bridget saves the girl who was making fun of her and just makes amends with her past. It's just, you know, it's entertaining. Did it make me laugh at all? No, not really. I would just say it's a fine episode, very middle of the road for me. There's nothing bad about it. There's just nothing too amazing about it. I just find it fine, to be honest.
Excuse me?
Busting up my instruments, I had to rip your
dick off.
At number 35 is going to be the episode World's Greatest Teacher, and my main problem with this episode is the fact that the main character is Mr. Campbell. And I mean, he's fine for the most part, but you know, him being the main focus of the episode just isn't, you know, a major double thumbs up for me. The episode is all about how he gets outshined and outperformed by this teacher named River. I think that's her name. I'm pretty sure her name is River. But either way, she is just overall a way better teacher than him, and this leads to him, you know, having a psychotic break, which leads to him talking to this mug. Yes, a literal mug that says World's Greatest Teacher, and I actually enjoy every single segment where he's talking to this mug. I think that's where the episode really begins to shine.
What's I supposed to do? She has perfect pitch in this casual retro chic style that just... Ow!
Shut up and listen, you little bitch. Do you want to get back to being everyone's favorite teacher or not?
Yes, of course I do!
Where he's just talking to this mug and it'll like splash in his face, telling him that he needs to get his act together, which leads to him trying to sabotage her in every single way that he can. And I thought it was going to get a lot more crazy than it actually did. I mean, all it really does is destroy some musical instruments, which leads to her being like, all right, bitch, you want to go? I actually enjoyed where the rivalry actually started and she just immediately went from 0, like super nice teacher, to 100. And it was like, all right, bitch, you want to go? You want to go at it? Okay, let's go at it. I'm gonna out-teach the hell out of you, okay?
Was that all you got, you man-bun little bitch?
Excuse me?
Busting up my instruments, I had to rip your dick off.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed when the rivalry actually sparked up a little bit, and that leads to Campbell trying to sabotage her even more by cutting her bike brakes, but that just makes her look even better. And to top the episode off, they're going to have a singing competition, but they realize that they're actually amazing together, so they perform a amazing song, just, you know, singing together about random nonsense, and they become best pals, and he picks up the mug and destroys it. His psychotic break is over, and they become besties. That's great. I love it.
We did.
No! No friends! Only enemies!
You don't own me!
Oh.
It's definitely just an okay episode. I feel like they could have went way more off the rails with all the stuff that he was trying to do to her to sabotage her. At times it just felt like, oh, that's all you did, man? I thought it was going to get way crazier than that. The main highlight is definitely just the mug for me, though. I liked the mug that would talk to him while he was just, you know, hallucinating. I enjoyed that.
You want me to be a matchmaker? Everyone I go out with is a total freak.
At number 34 is going to be the episode Match Made in Valhalla, and in this episode, Bridget discovers that she is really good at pairing people up together, like really good at it, so much so that the entire town comes to her to match them up with the perfect person. And my main problem with this episode is that it's the season finale of season 3, and we're not going to get any more seasons, but this episode was all about how while Bridget is setting all of these people up, she is starting to have feelings for Alex again. How could she possibly just, you know, look at this guy the same and start seeing fireworks near him and want to actually be with this guy? It's just happening so sudden, and she wants to, you know, maybe rekindle some things with Alex, and that's when the perfect woman shows up for Alex looking for Bridget to set her up with somebody because she loves Vikings, she loves Valhalla, and she wants Alex and his big old belly and his big hairy beard. She wants him so bad, and this leads to them forming an emotional connection, so much so that Alex proposes, and Bridget just starts having a mental breakdown about it. She cannot handle the fact that Alex might get married to this girl, and it's revealed that this woman is actually God.
I just have to show you.
I am Hnas, the Norse goddess of lust.
Yes, a Viking goddess who is going to take Alex up to the heavens. Yeah, did not really expect that, but hey, I mean, you know, I like it when Close Enough is random. It makes it feel like regular show. I enjoy it a lot. And so they're about to go up there, but Bridget confesses that she has feelings for Alex, and Alex just immediately is all like, oh, I know you're a goddess, and I just did so much with you, but I can't do this. I still have feelings for Bridget. And Bridget and Alex kiss, and they get back together.
Damn, that would have rocked. But not as much as this.
and that just really sucks because this is a season finale. We're never going to get to see where this went, and my main complaint about this episode is how fast everything happens. It genuinely feels like maybe they knew that they were going to get canceled, so they want to just, end one of those loose threads just right away, because Bridget, there's no build up to her wanting to be with Alex again. It's just like, oh yeah, I kind of like this guy again. Oh, he's with somebody else. Oh, I like you. Oh, I like you too. And then they're back together. It probably would have been nice if we got a season 4 and got to see way more of their relationship develop again, and maybe we would get more good episodes with that. It just sucks that this show ended, but for the most part, this episode, pretty good. I enjoyed it. Even though it felt really fast-paced, really random, I enjoyed it.
Ow! We should, establish a safe word.
We found these women in an underground jail.
They were arrested for not laughing at their husband's jokes.
At 33 is going to be the episode Men Rock, and this episode is all about how Emily and Bridget sing a song all about how men rock, which is really empowering to men, but this other country that is not so nice to women, kind of takes advantage of that and makes Emily and Bridget think that they're just really popular stars and everybody loves their music, but the main reason that they're actually there is that their music puts down women, so they want them to perform it to the entire country to just make women feel horrible, and it's awful. So of course Emily and Bridget are going to come to their ways and change the lyrics to women rock, empowering the women to take charge, take back their country.
Women rock, they're so awesome. Girls who code, Beyonce blossom. Women rock. When we say women, you say rock.
It's really great. I enjoy it for the most part. And then you add Josh and Candace discovering these prisoners of women who come out of the floor. And by the way, they were in prison because they didn't laugh at, their husband's jokes. I thought that was really funny. But either way, they come out of there. They start just beating the hell out of all of the men. And they're able to escape the country with the help of one guy who just, likes that, women could be in power. He enjoys it. So they're able to escape and they go back to singing No One. But at least they helped that country. And overall, it's just a very, very solid episode. There was nothing that made me laugh in particularly too hard, but I will say this one is just entertaining throughout the entire thing. You just keep wondering where it's going to go. Why do all of these men in this country really like everything that, Emily and Bridget are doing? Why did this one ruler of the country just grab them and start sniffing their hair? Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting, slow build to what's going to happen, but I could enjoy it, and I really enjoyed the end where they're able to help the entire country. It's just a very solid episode.
Emily, we gotta get out of here. This country hates women.
We noticed.
Whatever happened to human connection?
And at number 32 is going to be the episode Cyber Matrix, and I love the intro of this episode where Alex is trying to justify why he doesn't need a brand new phone, and due to some really unfortunate events, he's going to need a upgrade.
It's fine. I can put it in a bowl of rice.
And this leads to him buying Kira, a phone that is basically alive that is able to convince Alex that he needs to constantly be on it, and this eventually leads him to getting put in a literal pod floating there, so Josh has to try to go in and rescue him, while Emily, Pearl, and Bridget all try to go and destroy the data servers to get rid of her, and they need to distract her long enough, so Josh goes in there, is trying to talk Alex out of all of this. Alex is portrayed as a giant god, which I thought was really funny, and Josh is like, why don't you want to hang out with your real friends? And he's like, I got them right here.
Superhero franchises are ruining cinema. Anyone care to disagree?
Actually, superhero stories are part of a rich folk tradition of mythological tales of gods and goddesses.
Every culture throughout history.
And just shows AI versions of Josh and Candace and everybody. And the reason that he decides that he doesn't want to live in this world is because they're smarter than him. So yeah, he can't have that. So this leads to Josh and Alex trying to slow Kira down by doing things like downloading all of Friends onto her servers, stuff like that. And they eventually are able to do it and destroy her for good. And this episode ends on a bit of a cliffhanger where they're all seen in the chamber pods and Kira took over the entire world. What is real? What is not?
Dad. Thanks, daughter Candace. Being a dad rules.
overall this episode is really good from beginning to end. It has a lot of moments that genuinely make me laugh. I mean, mainly that intro sequence where his phone gets destroyed. I enjoyed that a lot, and then just a lot of other good stuff sprinkled in throughout the episode. All of the stuff with Alex in this virtual world, and Josh and Alex trying to slow Kira down. So many different references that I could just really enjoy. So yeah, this episode was pretty good. Not the best, that's for sure. That's why it's still ranking low, but I enjoyed it. And at number 31 is going to be the episode Meet the Frackers, and I really enjoy the intro to this episode so much because the episode opens with everyone just taking some DNA tests to see what their pasts were like, and for some reason they decided to make Alex just this perv of a person, just a creep in all of his past lives, to where every time it just does a bunch of flashbacks to who he used to be, he's just always stroking something, going like, yeah. It's just really funny. It's so good.
You're out of here!
Well, that doesn't seem scientific.
And then eventually Randy does his, and he learns that his parents are still alive, and Pearl has been lying to him his entire life. So this leads to him wanting to search for his parents, and Pearl tells him that his parents used to be criminals who would just abandon him every single time and every single chance that they possibly could get.
They left you behind so they could make off with 15 gallons of premium unleaded.
And I really enjoy the criminals because I think their entire, like, shtick is really funny, where one of them is, the suck, and one of them is the nose, and they just try to siphon gas, and the dude is all like, and can apparently suck really good, and then the other girl can just smell gas, a full tank of gas from like a mile away. Yeah, really interesting power. And eventually Randy goes to meet them, who apparently they've reformed because now they just look for oil, and they eventually have this big like welcoming party at their block, where it turns out that they're just trying to frack underneath their house and steal all of the oil and destroy all of our people's houses. So this leads to the entire house being like almost collapsing. And did I forget to mention that Candace has been playing with a air leaf blower for this entire time because Josh got her that so that she would play with non-gendered toys? Yeah, really funny. Either way, she starts holding up the house just using the leaf blower. And Randy has to fight against his parents, who are apparently really evil, and he has to get the gas back, but he's the ultimate suck, he's the ultimate nose, and he's able to work it out and get all of the gas back and save the entire house. And this is one of the much better Randy episodes. I enjoyed him for a lot more of it, even though he was being mean to Pearl. I could still enjoy this one. I think the villains were really funny, and I really like that intro where they're just learning about the DNA, and Alex is just I just thought this episode was really funny for the most part.
I'm gonna do what troubled young men have done for centuries. Go to sea.
Coming in at number 30 is going to be the episode Handy, and this episode opens with Randy going to the airport just to get his mom's favorite snack. Yeah, and it takes a while for him to get there, but when he gets back, he hears Pearl making some noises. He runs, he's scared. What could possibly be happening? Is she doing something with a man? No, it's even worse. She hired a plumber.
It's not what it looks like.
And Randy's whole thing is that he loves to fix things, so he is just appalled that she would ever do this to him, which leads Randy to just going out to sea. I really enjoyed that. He feels betrayed, so he's just like, I gotta do the only thing a man can do now. And then it just cuts to him being in the ocean, and he causes the ship to sink.
I'm gonna do what troubled young men have done for centuries. Go to sea. This is where I belong.
Which leads to him being stranded, and he decides to get on his phone, and just because he realizes that he's stranded and needs to know what this movie is like that he's about to live, so he searched up Tom Hanks movies, and yeah, his phone dies, so now he's just stranded here. And so he gets some help from a bunch of guys who are on TV who are handy, and he just gets help from them to start being a handyman and building a bunch of different things. And in the process, he recreates the little townhome that they live in, and he tries to fix the plumbing issues, and he realizes that a pipe is about to burst, so he has to create a raft and get there before the plumber actually manages to fix it. He gets there just in time, and the house is just about to start getting destroyed. Oh no! And so Randy just crawls in there. He's able to get some help. It's a climactic finish where Randy uses a bunch of beer cans to support the house and is able to save everyone.
3, 2, 1,
That'll hold.
And it's just, yeah, it's a pretty decent Randy episode. I could enjoy it for the most part. I think it had a lot of good things going for it. Everything with Randy getting stranded was a lot of fun. All the stuff with him on the island was a lot of fun. And then that finish really just sealed it for me as it being a pretty decent episode. I liked how he just solved it all with the beer cans, stacking them up and making everybody flush at the same time. It was just overall a pretty decent episode.
You know, it's natural to want to protect your mother with everything that she did for you.
And number 29 is going to be the episode Cool Moms, and this is a very grounded, down-to-earth episode where it's all about how Emily wants to get in with one of the cliques, and she chooses the Cool Moms clique, which is just a bunch of moms that are kind of, you know, not very good parents. Like, the biggest example is the leader, who just, you know, lets her child do whatever she wants. She even lets her child drink beer, is just doing whatever she wants, and Emily, in an attempt to look cool, you know, also tries to do whatever she can to seem really cool. And at the same time, we have Josh, Alex, and Randy all trying to find Pearl because they think that she's missing, and in reality, she's just, you know, getting massages naked from this random guy at a club, and it's just, you know, they have to, like, get into that club nude and just run around. I enjoyed all the stuff with their story a lot. I thought that was pretty funny.
Wrestle these guys. Randy, go save your mom.
But then you just go to our really grounded other story with Emily and the cool parents that is just kind of whatever, but it's still enjoyable. I'm still going to rank it decently high because, I mean, it's entertaining. Like, watching Emily just, you know, struggle to do all these things while starting to be mean with Candace just because she wants to look cool. And then this eventually leads to Emily wanting to stand up for all of these parents, so she challenges the coolest mom to a arm wrestle. They're arm wrestling, and because of the magic of parenthood and believing in your daughter, the hat that Candace made for Emily starts slowly floating up and lands onto her head, and this leads to her having the power to win this arm wrestling match, grabbing it, and just breaks the mom's arm. Yeah, pretty crazy ending. And Emily meets another mom there that she could actually be friends with because she's actually cool. So yeah, it's just a good, you know, wholesome ending for Emily, for Candace, because Emily learns that she should just, you know, be a good mother. And then all the stuff with Josh, Randy, and Alex just invading this nudist, like, camp thing was also really funny. So yeah, it's gonna make for a pretty decent episode.
It's both.
At 28 is the episode First Date, and in this episode we got two major plots. We have Josh and Emily, who, after Emily getting a tarot card reading, a, you know, hand reader, whatever you want to call her, she learns that she is not really in a spicy relationship anymore. The spice has just died down. There's not a lot of romance. So in an effort to rekindle all of that, Josh and Emily are going to relive their very first date, going to a haunted house where when they were just, you know, very young, they just made out the entire time. But on this second occasion of going there, things get a little bit more heated because they just turned up the horror aspects of it just to like level 1 million, and they just get scared by literally everything there.
And initial here, acknowledging that you will shed your pants. Perfect. Have fun.
So much of it has just been amplified so much that they're just terrified the entire time. And honestly, it's a very cool haunted house experience. I mean, there's literally a tree that falls and like separates them. They get separated, and the entire haunted house tries to paint the picture that they actually died. They're running away from all these demons, all of these ghoulish monsters. that I don't even know how this haunted house would be creating all these things. I don't understand it. Smoke and mirrors. Maybe Muscle Man is there and he's just doing a smoke and mirrors thing. Maybe he's running a business or something, because I don't know how the haunted house is doing all these different things. And then before we get to the conclusion of that, it'd be good to talk about Bridget's story here, where she's trying to date this guy who is conjoined to another person. Yes, like literally conjoined. They got conjoined together because, you know, they were romantically involved, so they decided, oh, what a better way to be close than to stitch myself to you. Romantic.
I've heard so much about you, but not because I've been eavesdropping. That'd be creepy. It's because we're sewn together.
And so Bridget is trying to date this guy, and so she calls Alex to help out to date the girl so that they could just talk to each other. And Alex and the girl are hitting it off, and they want to get conjoined, which leads to Bridget actually wanting to get conjoined, but they don't get conjoined because the two people who are conjoined realize that Bridget and Alex still have feelings for each other, and maybe they should finish all of that stuff before, you know, joining with another person. Yeah, it's really weird. Really weird side plot. I felt very weird while watching it, but I was still entertained because of how weird it was. Just, I mean, seeing their conjoined bodies and all of the conjoined jokes. Yeah, it was very weird. And back to Emily and Josh, they're able to eventually get back together in the haunted house after seeing themselves as old people, and they realize that, you know, maybe it's not as spicy as they were, maybe this haunted house isn't the same as their first date, but they have emotions for each other right now, even if they're dead, and they just start getting freaky with each other, and that's when the lights cut out and they realize that, you know, they're not actually dead. They didn't actually die, but they just, you know, start getting freaky with each other right there, and the lady's just like, come on guys, you could leave, and they're just getting freaky. So yeah, I guess their relationship is spicy once again, and yeah, it's a pretty good episode.
I had a glass of water an hour ago. Why don't you let me try, huh?
And number 27 is going to be the episode The Perfect House. And in this episode, it begins with Emily really wanting to look at open houses and pretend like she's living this bougie lifestyle where she lives in like a mansion. And Josh is not too fond on this. He wants to be able to do a bunch of family stuff that they all will be able to enjoy. And he really wants to get this like 8-person family tandem bicycle. That's our B plot for the episode, is Josh really wanting this bicycle because he believes that it'll just improve his family so much, because when he was a child, he kept getting made fun of for not having a family. Yeah, it's a really weird, really funny plotline that I can enjoy for the most part.
Where's your family, loser?
And then you have Emily, who decides to go to an open house all by herself, and she meets this guy who is also there by himself, and this like really famous child who is also there by themselves. So they decide to just, you know, play a little hooky from their families and stay inside of this open house and pretend like they're a family living this open house lovely lifestyle. And that's when, you know, things start getting a little bit weird. We get an entire intro sequence about their TV show, and, you know, the dude and the kids start acting a little bit weird, like they're living in a sitcom, and Emily doesn't understand anything. We get a really weird thing where, like, she tries to use the sink, or he tries to use the sink, and he's just drinking nothing.
I had a glass of water an hour ago. Why don't you let me try, huh?
Yeah, it just keeps on getting weirder and weirder, so Emily tries to leave, and she realizes that she is just in a void. Yeah, very interesting. And so Josh tries to go and save Emily, but he decides to use the 8-person tandem bicycle all by himself, and he gets made fun of again? No!
Emily! Baby! Emily! Hey! Come back! Where's your family, loser?
So he decides he eventually does find them, and that's when Emily, you know, Josh is there, and Josh gets sucked into it as well, so he is now sucked into the sitcom. And so Emily and Josh realize what they have to do to get out of the sitcom is to do things that you're not supposed to do in a sitcom. So Emily just immediately just starts flashing her tits, giving the finger, just doing everything she possibly can.
Maybe if we do stuff you can't do on sitcoms, we can get out of here.
And yeah, they eventually are able to escape, and Josh gets his entire family to go on that bicycle ride. It's wholesome, it's great, it's a happy ending for Josh, and Emily realizes the importance of just, being with her family, even though it can be a little crazy at times. It's a good episode. I enjoy it a lot. There's a lot to like about it, a lot of moments that made me laugh. The entire sitcom thing was also a really funny way of just, making fun of sitcoms, but also telling a lot of good jokes at the same time.
Guy who took our burgers.
Wow. Guess he needed a little meat on his bones.
At number 26 is going to be the episode Venice Vengeance, and I won't lie to you, the majority of this episode I really didn't like, but the ending is what was able to pull it all together and actually make me say that this is a really good episode, because it's all about Pearl trying to relive her childhood where she was a amazing sandcastle builder, and she lost because she got a little bit too cocky and started fighting with this guy and fell into her Eiffel Tower. And so now, with the help of Candace, she wants to re-enter this competition and beat this old dick guy who wants to, also just beat her, and this leads to them being in this sandcastle competition where they're just making sandcastles left and right, but it was all supposed to be for fun, so Candace is not having fun, and Pearl is taking this way too seriously, which leads to Candace not having a good time. And our B-plot for this episode is Josh and Alex and Emily and Bridget all dealing with the fact that the seagulls stole their hamburgers. Yeah, so they're dealing with that, and Pearl is just, having a literal fight with this guy, literally fighting over the sandcastle, and she gets mad at Candace, which leads to her destroying their work again. And so Pearl learns the importance of just having a good time instead of focusing on just winning. It's so beautiful, it's emotional, and yeah, it's not actually, but they start just having fun building a sandcastle instead of focusing on every little small detail, and this leads to them creating one of the most beautiful sandcastles ever conceived. Sandcastles, not sandkissels, but either way, they just make a beautiful sandcastle, even the seagulls crying about it. And this leads to that old guy realizing that he's about to lose, so he grabs the burger that Alex is about to eat and throws it at Pearl, but Pearl bounces it back. The burger splashes in this guy's face, and yeah, this is the part of the episode where I just genuinely started laughing so much, because this guy just gets swarmed by seagulls and just dies. He fucking dies right there, and it just pans to his kid that he was with, who's just like...
That was the guy who took our burgers.
Wow. Guess he needed a little meat on his bones.
Yeah, because the dude is just dead and nobody even acknowledges it. Nobody even pays any mind to it. He's just dead. He's gone. The kid even does a little memorial for him and just nobody cares. Yeah, it's really funny. Really funny episode. I enjoyed it.
You're under arrest.
Arrest this!
At number 25 is going to be the episode Joint Break, and in this episode, Pearl is playing a little, cops and robbers with Candace, trying to have a good time, and she decides that she is going to slide over a car, and this leads to her breaking her hip.
With age comes wisdom. Power slide! Oh!
So she has to go to aerobics classes, swimming it up, trying to get a little bit more healthy, and that's when she meets these other grannies who, you might just think that they're normal grannies, but they're kind of cool. They're just, doing it up, and she tries to join their little gang, but, where the episode takes a little bit of a twist is when it's revealed that these old ladies are actually bank robbers and are able to use, the idea that they're bank robbers to, lull the cops into a false sense of confidence, thinking that, these old women couldn't possibly be doing these robberies. They're just a bunch of old sags of bones. They're fossils. They're dinosaurs. So it's the perfect cover-up.
To try turd. I could go for General Soul's clam shack. Are y'all okay?
Floor it, Pearl!
What happened?
We just made a little withdrawal.
And they decide that they're going to, induct Pearl into this, and Pearl decides to go along with it, but, they go for their biggest job yet, and Pearl, she pulls the plug on it. It was all a setup to get all of them arrested, and for some reason the ending was very, very weird to me, where the final granny just decides that she's going to take one more little glimpse of freedom before she's locked away forever, and decides to just run into the ocean and do aerobics one more time where she's just swimming, and yeah, she dies. Yeah, pretty wild. Overall, a very funny episode, really good. I was not expecting this episode where Pearl breaks her hip to turn into a old granny bank robbery episode, but hey, that made it all the better. It really took Pearl out of her element, and I enjoyed that a lot, where she's just trying to be so nonchalant, thinking she's hanging out with a bunch of cool old ladies, and then they just run out of the bank, you know, with money in hand. Yeah, very cool, very interesting, really good episode.
Eons ago.
What the f?
This sucks.
It makes me want to kill myself.
And number 24 is going to be the episode Never Meet Your Heroes, and in this episode, Alex writes a fanfic, and I really like the beginning where he's just too scared to tell everybody. He just imagines the absolute worst.
Doing anything?
Awesome. Okay. Eons ago.
What the f?
This sucks.
It makes me want to kill myself.
You made me hate reading more than I already do.
Wait, what? Is it really that bad?
Let's kick him in the nuts.
Yeah, a lot of really funny scenes there, and this eventually leads to him going to a professional, his favorite writer, who takes a liking to his writing, so much so that he invites him to his house. He's coaching him, he's gonna make him a famous writer. But it turns out that this guy is actually a caveman from thousands of years ago who found a mysterious rock that he used to keep stealing other people's bodies.
Space meteor had caused us to switch bodies. I'd escaped death, and as a bonus, I was able to rip off the other guy without consequence.
So that he could just keep on plagiarizing forever for all eternity, and he has chosen Alex as the man that he wants to plagiarize this time around. Yeah, very weird, but I'm all for it. And so he takes Alex's body, but Alex is able to run away in his old man form with the novel still intact. So Alex, you know, not our Alex, the writer guy in Alex's body, chases him down, and this leads to a big fight where they just keep on switching bodies with everybody because they get back to the house, and everybody, Bridget, Candace, Josh, Emily, all of them are just switching bodies while fighting this guy, trying to get rid of him, trying to kill him, and they're eventually able to switch bodies just at the perfect time, and he gets stabbed as he's going to stab Alex's body, and he switches.
Oh, that's no good.
And yeah, it's very weird, but I enjoyed it a lot. It's kind of tough to follow, but it's some really good stuff. I really like the concept with all the villains that they try to do because they all feel really unique. And a guy that was a caveman who just goes throughout history just stealing people's bodies so that he could keep on taking credit for their work. Yeah, very interesting concept. I enjoyed it. The final fight at the end was also a lot of fun. And yeah, it just makes for a pretty good episode.
That's it! This should be the last level of the game!
No way! Game over, dude man.
No, wait!
At 24, we have two pretty good plot lines here once again. We have Josh dealing with his former past game that could have went big, Dude Man. And he, you know, reignites that flame, tries to make the game again, but this makes a physical amalgamation of Dude Man start taking over his mind and start making him act like he was maybe like 10 years ago, and trying to make him do a bunch of reckless things, even though he has a family to think about, and this makes him get a new haircut, act differently, start wanting to do all these different stunts in order to find a way to finish his level. And then on the other hand, you have Alex, who is trying to look really cool for his class, who thinks that he's just not that good of a teacher, and so he keeps on trying to do a bunch of different death-defying stunts, like jumping off a building, and it just keeps going really poorly, but I think it's honestly hilarious.
So, doing this, and you will be engaged!
And this eventually leads to Alex setting up a jump on a motorcycle over this flaming pit, and, you know, his students realize that this is a bit too much, so they try to talk him out of it, and he's eventually, you know, coaxed into not doing that, even though, you know, he still eats shit, which was also really funny. This leads to Josh going up there and doing the jump himself, except he sees Emily and Candace, and he's all like, oh, my family, I don't need Dude Man, I could just be, you know, with my family, they think I'm awesome, so I don't need you, Dude Man. And so Dude Man, he doesn't like that very much. He takes control of Josh, goes down anyway, they're going over the pit, and Josh has to overcome his demons, overcome Dude Man, and send him into the fire, saying goodbye to his 20s.
Man. No, wait! I'd rather hang out with my family! No!
and just getting rid of all of that, getting rid of Dude Man. He's able to even complete the jump. Yeah, Josh! And then he just rams into a van. It was just a good way to end the episode. I really liked it. I liked the entire plot with Josh dealing with his past failures and just this like character that he invented, trying to take over his mind and trying to lead him to success, but he has to learn about the values of family again. Very wholesome. All the stuff with Alex was just really funny, with him just keeping on trying to do all these different things to impress the students and then just keep getting hurt really bad. All of it was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Like Icarus, that dude flew way too close to the sun.
Psych! I can handle being devoured. I'm into weird shit. But killing my friends? That's gonna be a no from me, dog!
At 23 is the episode Bike and Survive, and this episode has a really good premise of Alex being given an exercise bike, and it's one of those exercise bikes that like has a lady in it that coaches you and makes you think like you're connecting with her and that she's really proud of you.
What are we talking about?
And done. Let it coast, you freaking rock star.
And this leads to Alex getting really addicted to this bike, even going to this bike cult where he gets inducted into there and has to just keep on pedaling, keep on living inside of this building to appraise to this ultimate bike lady. And this leads to everybody going to the facility to try to talk Alex out of it because it's literally a cult, and he says no, he doesn't believe them, and this leads to them getting imprisoned, and Alex gets to meet the head lady, who turns out to be an alien who wants to harness the power of humans' gluteus maximuses because they were just so mesmerizing. And I should mention that this lady is like a tentacle lady, so she wants to use all of their powers. I feel like it's just an entire like reference to how stupid Scientology is. I feel like that's the entire goal of it. If you've ever like read about what Scientologists actually believe, then you know this is kind of what I felt like it was, you know, making fun of in a way. If it wasn't, then maybe I'm just stupid, but I really enjoyed it for the most part. It turns out that they crash landed on that planet so many years ago when they saw all of the humans and their asses and their ability to run. So they wanted to make them power this like spaceship to go up into space using their legs. So they formed this giant cult, and Alex is chosen to be, you know, the mate for this big lady, but the lady wants to kill his friends. So Alex is all like, no, 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 and starts trying to sabotage her.
Psych! I can handle being devoured. I'm into weird shit. But killing my friends? That's gonna be a no from me, dog!
Leads to Alex having to help all his friends to escape using his big, meaty quads, his big, meaty calves. All the stuff that he's been doing on that bike recently, it's been paying off, and he's able to escape, which causes all of the other people to escape as well, because he literally just walks up to everybody who is also riding a bike and is like, hey guys, this is a cult! And so they all start running, they escape, and the alien lady is killed. Overall, a really decent episode with a really funny concept. It's just taking a thing like, you know, Alex is gonna run on an exercise bike and turn it into a ultimate cult that is trying to escape Earth and kill everybody. Yeah, very interesting concept, but makes for a very good episode.
Run! Let's get out of here! No, we fight, right? Don't look at me, I'm just your dong.
At number 22 is going to be the episode Man Up, and would it be close enough if we didn't get a reference to Die Hard? Of course we're going to get a Die Hard reference, and I love the beginning of this episode where there is a so-called monster coming into this bank that Josh, Emily, and Candace are at, and so Josh, you know, being the father that he is, somebody who's going to protect his family, feels in his gut no, and just runs away and abandons them, but it turns out that it wasn't even an actual monster.
You run!
Josh?
Here at First Bank of Hollywood, our interest rates are out of this world!
It was just all to give them like just this like little like bougie like Ziploc bag thing, like just for being a member of the bank. Yeah, so Emily and Candace are very disappointed in Josh, so Josh wants to learn how to be a man and stand up and protect his family, and this leads to him going on a whole training course, and eventually he's at this like whole celebration thing with Emily and Candace, and it turns out that actual like bad people show up there, and Josh at this time is expecting Pearl to come at him with a brand new real world challenge, so he just kind of assumes that everybody there is just all in this big act to try to make Josh act like a man, and so he starts just genuinely going around fighting everybody, killing everybody, like literally pushing a dude down the stairs and killing him and just being like, oh, they even hired stunt people?
Oh my god.
Pearl hired professional stuntmen?
It's really funny. He's just literally doing a Die Hard, but he makes it so funny. And then he eventually confronts the actual big bad villain, the main guy, and that's when Emily says that this is actually real, and Josh starts having that feeling in his stomach. He begins to run away, but he decides to run in the right direction. He has a talk with his brain, he has a talk with his cock, and he starts running in the right direction to actually fight. He gets shot in the penis. Yeah, gets shot right there, but he's able to take out that guy, pushing him out the window and saving his family.
Oh, I want no part of this.
And because of that little bag that he got at the bank at the beginning of this episode, his balls did not take any damage. Overall, a absolute win for our main man, Josh, and he proved that he could help save his family in a very good episode. I enjoyed this one a lot. So much good action, a good villain, a good concept. Loved it.
It might, but I think the best thing now is for you to divorce.
Not on my watch!
And number 21 is the episode Where the Buffalo Roam, and this episode is all about how Josh and Emily have apparently been saving up for their honeymoon since they got married so that they could actually have a really big fancy one, and they finally fill up this glass teddy bear, and they learn that they've only saved up $400 in the past 7 years. Yeah, that's a darn shame. So they try to go on this cheap vacation to this island, and it has 5-star reviews, so they're wondering, how bad could it possibly be? I mean, it's cheap, it looks really nice, what could possibly be wrong with it? So they get there, and they learn that it's infested with buffalo? Yeah. Very, very weird. There's buffalo here, a buffalo there, a buffalo everywhere, just kind of making their date suck in every single way. Their honeymoon is not going the way that it was supposed to be intended, so they decide that they just want to leave early. They try to check out, but the main lady gets very angry because she's not going to get a good review if they leave early, so what the hell? So she unleashes all of the buffalo to start chasing them, and it cuts to like that 1920s thing where it's like, you know, the actual action playing, and then it cuts to what they're saying, and then it's the action. Yeah, I enjoyed that aspect of the episode a lot. I really like the format change. I love it. They're running away from all these buffalo who are trying to murder them. And earlier in the episode, Emily was like talking about divorce, but wasn't actually talking about divorce with Josh. She was talking about divorcing this like vacation and wanting to go home. And Alex overheard this conversation on the phone, and so he jumps out the window and starts rushing there to help Josh to save his marriage. Honestly, so hilarious.
But I think the best thing now is for you to divorce.
Not on my watch!
And as Emily and Josh are about to get murdered by this bison, luckily for them, Alex shows up, takes out the villains, boom, shakalaka, and they get out of there.
These 2 tickets.
To hell! Josh! Emily!
They're safe, and yeah, they're never going back to that island. It's just a really funny episode with so much good stuff. I thought having Bison be the main villain, the buffalo be the main villain, was just such a great idea, and all the stuff they did with it made me laugh for the entire thing. So yeah, it definitely deserves to be higher up on the list.
Horse meat?
I thought when you ordered that, it was just an ironic name.
No, Josh. They have everything here.
At number 20 is the episode The Perfect Couple, and in this episode, Alex and Bridget do not want to hang out with Josh and Emily anymore because every time they hang out, they have to go to a kid place so Candace can have fun as well, and that's just really lame when you want to go out to dinner, do an adult hangout, so they're just not really about that. And this leads to both of them splitting off from each other. Alex and Bridget, they find this one guy who's just really into partying, really into doing some substances, and is just exactly what they want, until they eventually realize that this is not what they want because this guy is a little bit too extreme. He just likes to drink, and they eventually go on top of this mountain, which leads to this guy like shaking the entire ride, and they go up and they crash through this building and they get arrested. So Alex and Bridget learned the lesson that they should have, just stuck with their simple life of hanging out with casual, normal friends, being adults. And Josh and Emily, on the other hand, they meet a couple who they think just has a child, and they're just, talking about how, oh, they're both parents, we could bond so much, it's so nice to meet another couple that has a child that respects all of that, until they go to this restaurant where it just, the plot twist just came out of nowhere, but was honestly so hilarious, where they're just like, what are you talking about? What do you mean your kid's a little bit different? And they just plop the kid on the table who has just been wearing like a Princess Peach outfit this entire time, and it's revealed to just be a pug.
Malone? We're not monsters.
Did you just say dog turd? What the hell?
Wearing human clothes, and apparently these people are comparing raising an actual human child to raising a dog, meaning the same thing, and for some reason they just order horse meat and they all start eating horse meat.
Horse meat?
I thought when you ordered that it was just an ironic name.
No, Josh. They have everything here.
Why is this happening? What is going on? Either way, I'm all for it, and this leads to Emily and Josh and Candace all running away, and a pack of dogs is all trying to eat them, and the way that they get rid of this family who is just trying to say that, come on, you just need to say that it's as easy to raise a dog as it is a child, come on, say it. And so Emily and Josh are like, we like cats, so they just leave. But everything leading up to this was really great, really unexpected, and I was all for it, and it just creates a really good episode.
Daddy! We're not your parents!
Of course you are.
And at number 19 is going to be the episode Quilty Pleasures, and this episode is just nothing but fucking chaos, and that's why I love it so much. It's the first episode that Close Enough ever gave us, and I can honestly see why it was just so much chaos, because they kind of wanted to show what this show could actually be, and it was just a bunch of nonsense, but it all leads to so many great, hilarious moments that I love it. I love it so much. The episode is all about how Josh and Emily have to go shopping and try and get stuff to make a quilt because Candace told them about it last minute, and if they don't make a quilt, then they're just gonna look like horrible parents. So they go to the store, and Josh just keeps on getting distracted with so many things like churros and like a bird. He buys a literal bird, and it's just a mini Josh.
Senor, Pájaro Pals, where we make birds look like you.
Looking good, Bird Josh.
Ah, gringo cabron.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. Well, Emily is just trying to barter and haggle her way down to get a bunch of cheaper products, and this eventually leads to, them meeting up, realizing that they've done nothing, and they eventually find these small children who steal Josh's wallet, and they just run there, they chase after them, they find them in this building, and it turns out that they're all orphans, and they just want a mama and a papa, and so Josh and Emily are just like, okay, we'll be your parents if you make us a quilt.
These orphans took us to this factory. Dangerous machines, so much to see. It kinda all smells like rat piss, but we're doing it all for Candace.
And so they start making them a quilt. It kind of feels like a sweatshop. They even acknowledge that fact. But either way, they make a quilt. They have these children, and Josh and Emily just start fucking. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, like, the kids are even watching. Like, one of them is like very much watching. It was a very weird scene.
You look so sexy when you're being a good parent.
Scrog like it.
But either way, they go to sleep in this alley using the quilt, and they wake up to all of the children snuggling them, and then it's just revealed that they're not actually children, just because for some reason in like the shine of the daylight, they are revealed to be elderly old people that are all super short.
These kids, how'd they get so gross?
We're not gross, and we're not kids, and we're not British.
Yeah. Very weird reveal, but I was laughing so much when I first saw this. I couldn't believe that this was the plot twist that they were going for, and so they have to run away from all these children who just want a mommy and a daddy, and they eventually are able to escape them. It's just all so funny. It's all so random, but in the process, Josh's bird dies. He dies trying to help them. He dies.
Bird Josh, you came back! Bird Josh!
You barely knew him and he dies, but they're able to get out of there. They go back to the school, and that's when it's revealed that Candace already made her own quilt, and it's just Josh and Emily naked. Yeah, it's very weird. It definitely feels like a pilot episode because of how random and just off the rails it is, but that doesn't mean I enjoyed it any less. I thought it was hilarious, so it definitely deserves to be higher up on the list.
Go
Go Sox!
At number 18 is the episode So Long Boys, and I love the opening of this episode where Josh and Emily are just in the bathroom freaking out because they have a pregnancy scare. They do not know if Emily is pregnant, and just the way they dramatize this feels very realistic, but also really hilarious at the same time.
Optimum, I will cut you.
Okay, let's take a deep breath. No matter what happens, we'll be fine.
Do you mean that?
No.
Oh, thank God.
I love the intro, and they eventually realize that they're safe, but that was a very close call, so they realize that they need to have Josh get a vasectomy. So Josh is going to the vasectomy doctor to, get a little snip snap, and he's very, hesitant about it. He's scared about it, and Emily at the same time is also beginning to regret her decision, because what if they do want another child at some point? And so Josh is having that realization, Emily is having that realization, while Alex also meets these kids that are animatronics, and they're like showing of what vasectomy is. Yeah, it's very weird, and they turn out to be actual children and not animatronics. They apparently are just under contract, and they were really good at popping and locking, and they don't get a good pay or a good family. Yeah, it's really weird, but Alex thinks that they're his kids because they look exactly like him, and so Alex starts trying to father them, all while Josh doesn't want to do the vasectomy anymore, and this unleashes the vasectomy robot who wants to, cut Josh's balls off at any cost. It's really hilarious, and for some reason the robot has a New Jersey accent. I don't know why.
Let's get this vasectomy party started.
Hey!
It's like a robot thing, but it's like, nah, get back in your car. Yeah, I don't know why they decided to do it, but it makes it even more hilarious. It just feels so out of place, but it works so well at the same time. And so Josh and Emily and all of them are trying to survive this vasectomy robot. And so Josh and Emily and all the kids and Alex have to all come together. They do a little bit of popping and locking as a distraction, and they have to jump on top of the robots, and they're just like, Jeter, go Sox, and they just manage to destroy each other's balls, which kills the robots. And yeah, very weird ending, very good though. I loved it so much. It was honestly so hilarious.
Sorry, robots. We make our family decisions as a family.
You're worse than Jeter. Go Sox!
The kids were not actually Alex's kids, so he's very sad. But either way, it was a great episode. Had so many good moments. I mean, the robots being from New Jersey made me laugh a lot. I don't know why it was like that, but it just made it all the better. Or they might be from Boston. I don't know. I don't know accents. It just sounds the same. But either way, really funny episode. I enjoyed it a lot. It had a lot of good stuff in it.
Wasn't sudden. I'd been sick for months, but I didn't do anything about it. I hid it. All because I was scared of what the doctors might tell me.
At number 17 is going to be the episode Hellspital, and Alex is like having a hernia or something. He's very, very sick.
Alex, are you okay?
Nailed it.
You threw up on the way over here.
Yeah, as a joke.
But he doesn't want to go to the doctor because his dad died when he went to the doctor just one time, so he doesn't trust doctors even remotely. So they try to get Alex to go there at all costs. They try to trick him, and this eventually leads to Alex running away. He trips, he falls, and he presumably dies, and this takes him all the way down to hell, where he's going to just endure endless torture. But that's when his dad shows up from heaven for some reason and helps break him free, and they use Viking axes to fight their way out of there. It's all very random. It happens really fast, but hey, I mean, I'm not complaining. It has some good action, some good fight scenes. With him and his dad just slaying all these demons, getting their way out of there, battling out of hell, and eventually his dad is all like, I was very sick for a long time and I just never went to the doctor, and by the time I went it was too late, so I died. And so Alex is no longer afraid of doctors. He fought his way out of his hell, and he's able to get back to his body, and he gets all healed up. It's a very fast-paced, very random episode. It genuinely was a little bit like, just random how they just introduced his dad, and then his dad has this big old plot within like 7 minutes of time. But hey, I still found it enjoyable. I still thought the fight scenes were pretty good. There was a lot going for it. So yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good episode. Definitely deserves to be up this high.
Obs, you okay? Double just sigh.
At number 16 is the episode Robot with Benefits, and in this episode, Josh and his two coworkers, they are going to be replaced by this robot.
What's up? Let's install some TVs, my dudes.
because they just aren't doing very well at their jobs. So this robot comes and they have to show this robot how to do their jobs, except he just starts doing it way too well. He's able to complete jobs just like that. He's able to go to a random place and stop tornadoes from happening. He's just being a really good worker. And so Josh and his two coworkers, they assume that they're going to be replaced, so they decide that they're going to try and take him out. And Josh, he's just unable to do it when, you know, the robot appears that he's having feelings, that he's having desires, that he wants dreams, that he just doesn't want to just do this for the rest of his life.
Is feeling weird about his programming. Obo needs to do some computing.
Okay, Obo. I guess I'll see you at work tomorrow. Huh?
And so, just on the drive the next day, after Josh failed to take him out, to destroy him, he just decides that he wants to end it all, and he decides to start driving towards the edge of a bridge to end of his life. And Josh and his two coworkers, they have to stop him at all costs. And so it's just a bunch of scenes where the robot, she keeps on trying to kill himself, and Josh and all of them keep having to try and stop him.
No, we won't let you! Ah!
And it eventually all culminates with the robot about to lower himself into a pit of lava. But Josh gives a heartfelt speech about how it's a choice, about how he can live his life, about how he doesn't have to do this, and about how they're friends, about how the robot's been calling them my dudes the whole time. And I honestly thought this ending was going to be really wholesome, with the robot getting to like go and do his own thing. But no, the robot like reaches out to grab his hand and just falls into the fire pit and just is basically dead.
Obo did have some small notes.
The point is, you may have to do this job forever, but you won't have to do it alone, my dude.
Obo is your dude!
That ending genuinely made me go like, because I was not expecting that. I thought it was going to be a happy ending episode, but no, he just falls into the fire, and it turns out that the boss was originally just going to promote them all to tech assistants and give them way more pay, and the robot would just do all the hard stuff. So everything that they did to make the robot, you know, want to end his life was just for nothing, because, yeah, he was just gonna, they weren't even in danger of losing their jobs. This robot just had to die. And then even at the end, they just show his melted corpse that's just now a deformed mess. And yeah, I felt so bad for him. But this episode, it was really funny. I thought the robot calling them my dudes and just trying to be a really cool robot dude, a robot with benefits, was just really interesting. I enjoyed this episode a lot.
Every night we come to life and party!
But you're mad.
Before you ask, yes, we have sex. Yes, it's basically licking smooth plastic. And yes, it's amazing!
At number 15 is going to be the episode Clap Like This, and in this episode, Josh actually makes a sale on his video game for millions of dollars, but it turns out that he was just pitching it to interns, so they can't actually, you know, buy a game or like start mass producing it. But Josh had already told his family that they were rich and he doesn't want to disappoint them, so this leads to him having to take job after job after job, working overtime all the time, just to try to make ends meet and not disappoint his family. And at the same time, Bridget just got cut off by her mom, so Bridget has to go and get her job. And she works at this clothing store where she thinks she's going to be the head of it all, but it turns out that she's just going to be working in the back folding clothes for, you know, hours on end. It really sucks. And Josh is just doing all these jobs, making sure Candace and Emily can have fun, while Bridget is just doing this horrible job, until Bridget is working late night and she hears some partying, and she sees that there's a bunch of mannequins that have come to life and party at the night.
Made it! I'm Quinn, and this is my squad. You're alive? Better! We're forever 23!
And they just show Bridget around, say how good it's gonna be, and they're just all like, yeah, we're actually gonna, you know, steal your flesh so that we could fix ourselves and use all your fleshy parts. And that's when Josh shows up to install a TV there, but it turns out that it was just also going to be a kidnapping of Josh, and so Josh's entire family gets kidnapped as well as Bridget, and luckily for Josh, he is able to start playing his video game Clap Like This, clap, 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 and all the mannequins, because Clap Like This is just so addictive, they just can't help it but to start clapping, so they all start clapping, and that makes their hands fall off.
Oh, this is so addictive!
I'm pretty good at this!
Stop it! Don't you see what they're doing? Even I can't help it!
so it gives Josh plenty of enough time to save the day, and all the mannequins get defeated. It's great. I enjoyed it a lot. The mannequin villain lady and all the mannequins being villains was a really good, shocking moment. I enjoyed that aspect a lot. It's definitely one of the more memorable episodes because even though I hadn't watched the show in like 3 years, upon rewatch, I still remember this episode and I remember enjoying it a lot, and it holds up really well. I think every single aspect of it is pretty good. Josh doing the admirable thing and just trying to do all these different jobs, no matter how challenging they might be, is just really good. I enjoyed it a lot. And then that final climax, just using the clap like this game to just force all of them to break their arms off, was also really good. It's just a really good ending, really good episode.
A never-ending birthday party! It's like Chuck E. Cheese, except soon your children will forget they even have parents and choose to stay here for all eternity. Yay!
And number 14 is going to be the episode Birthdays, and when Emily and Josh have to just keep on going to a bunch of different birthday parties all of the time, they just get sick of it, so they decide that they're going to separate the kids' party to the actual adult party, creating 2 parties, and that leads to all the adults, you know, getting a little bit too rambunctious.
Hold your liquor.
Woo! I just had a Corona!
And what's the first rule of Naked Fight Club?
And the magician guy, not fucking with it at all. He's like, why wouldn't you want to watch a magician? It is for your children. What is wrong with you? And so he sucks all of the children away, and Josh and Emily have to go into this like magical birthday world to try to get all the kids back. Yeah, it's really wacky, but I enjoyed it. Mainly because there's one of this like villains that's like this talking birthday box, birthday gift, and she is very, very weird. Like she'll just like cough up pills and like birthday stuff at you.
A never-ending birthday party! It's like Chuck E. Cheese, except soon your children will forget they even have parents and choose to stay here for all eternity. Yay!
Yeah, she's very weird. She talks very weird. She acts very weird. It's just a really weird concept. And then you have the magician being the main villain. And the only way that Josh and Emily can get Candace back is if they're able to answer birthday questions about Candace's desires. And they're able to complete all of these and get Candace back and leave that world after some pretty epic and visually stunning scenes. I enjoyed it a lot. And then the thing that really weirded me out was when the magician's all like, yeah, they're all gone. Oh gosh. And then he just starts passionately making out with the birthday gift. Yeah, very weird.
Guess it's just you and me again.
There, Sardini. Unwrap me! Oh, yes.
Very weird stuff. Funny, yes. Very weird though. Just lots of good scenes like that. All the stuff with the parents tweaking at the beginning I really enjoyed. The entire birthday world and Josh and Emily actually having to actually be good parents and care about their daughter and answer why they didn't want to spend time with her, and learning that, you know, if they're going to be at these parties, they might as well do a fun activity with her to have a good time. It's just some good wholesome moments like that that makes for a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it.
I made you into diamonds. Big, brainy, accomplished diamonds.
Coming in at number 13, it's going to be the episode Bridget the Brain. And in this episode, Bridget has always been living in the shadow of her sister because her sister is smart, she's accomplishing things, and her mother always just sowed so much disapproval for Bridget that Bridget eventually goes for a visit to her lab because apparently her sister's a big-time doctor now who invented these pills that can make you smart. And this episode reminds me a lot of the regular show episode More Smarter, but with honestly just even more chaos. It might not be as funny as that episode, but there's a lot of chaos that I can enjoy. Bridget steals one of the pills, eats it, and this makes her incredibly smart.
Guess I'm doing burrito popsicle for lunch.
She starts going around the house fixing everybody's problems in some really cool scenes that I enjoyed a lot. Her cranium is just growing in mass, and eventually on her sister's big reveal day of her, you know, brain enhancement product, she shows up and reveals that she has created a product that is even better than that. Her sister snags it, grabs it, and is able to make her brain even bigger at the same time, which leads to Bridget also taking this pill and making her brain just as big, and we just get this, like, you know, Professor X style battle where they're just manipulating things with their minds, just throwing things at each other, blowing up buildings, fighting with their minds.
Maybe try better lighting! At least I'm not a failure who needs to go back to school!
Trying to outdo one another until they eventually come to the realization that Bridget's sister was going through the same thing that Bridget was. While Bridget was out being popular, her mom was making fun of her sister for not being popular, not being social, and not being cool. Her mom was just trying to sabotage both of their relationships in order to make them both become better, stronger people. So the sisters end up bonding with their big, massive craniums and turning it against their mother, and they realize that they have a bond and they should just be together as sisters. Very wholesome ending. We get a really cool fight scene with the Battle of the Brains. Everything leading up to it was also a lot of fun. Just a really good episode for...
Yeah, right. Here's a question only I would know. What year were you born? 1982? Holy shit, you really are me!
At number 12 is the episode Time Hooch, and this is a really fun one where it's revealed that Alex never actually divorced Bridget because he never signed the papers, so they've technically still been married this entire time.
Hell? Our divorce papers? You said you signed these over a year ago!
I must have gotten distracted. You know, we're in a golden age of TV.
And Alex now has to come with the terms of the fact that he has to actually sign these papers, and instead of doing this, he starts drinking some Time Hooch with Josh, which actually makes them travel back in time. And so they start going to every single Alex in the past, trying to stop whatever would make Bridget, you know, start a fight with him.
Hide. Bridge, where's my sando?
What are you talking about?
My sandwich, it's gone.
So they just keep on going to past Alex, to past Alex, to past Alex, because there were just so many different fights, and this eventually goes all the way back to when Alex first met Bridget, and our own very, like, you know, old version of Alex, our timeline version of Alex, realizes that he doesn't want to forget Bridget, he doesn't want to move on from Bridget, he doesn't want to change everything that's happened, because that just wouldn't like be the same. It wouldn't be the same. He doesn't want to get rid of ever meeting Bridget. So this leads to all the Alexes from the past turning on him and just start kicking the shit out of him because, you know, they've seen how their lives have turned out with them living in a closet and living with a bunch of people. They don't want to turn out like that. And this eventually leads to Alex just going mondo, going crazy, fighting all of themselves.
Uppercut, roadhouse kick. Oh no, I don't.
And sending them all back through the portal back into time. They go all the way back to the time of dinosaurs, thanks to a future version of Josh and Alex coming and saving the day. Yeah, it's all really crazy, and it's so hard to summarize some of these episodes because just so much random shit is happening literally all the time. And Alex and Bridget get to meet. That is saved in the future, and all of the Alexes from the past go back in with the dinosaurs. Yeah, and they all just start passionately making out with each other because they all think they look really good.
Well, what do you guys think we should do now? I mean, there's one obvious option. So fit. Ooh, yeah, the forbidden.
Yeah. Wasn't expecting that part of the episode, but either way, Alex comes to the terms with the fact that he has to sign the divorce papers. He signs them, makes Bridget happy. He is able to move on with himself. And yeah, a really crazy episode. Going back in time, meeting all these Alexes was a lot of fun. It just has a lot of good jokes in it, especially that joke at the end where they also just start passionately kissing each other and then they get frozen in time. And yeah, it's really weird stuff, but I enjoyed it a lot.
Use this chubby little legs of yours to run to Chinatown so I can finally savor some pork dumplings.
At number 11 is going to be the episode Snail in It, and the snail in this episode is probably one of my favorite villains in the entire show. I think he is so hilarious. This episode is all about how Emily's boss is just overworking her, making her do a bunch of things, and she doesn't have time to spend time with Candace. It's just such a tragedy. So she eventually is in this garden setting up for it, and that's when she meets this giant snail who's wearing a little top hat and is like, I could help you real good. You just wear this hat and it'll make you go really fast.
And stop now. You were doing such a good job.
Huh?
Sorry. Didn't mean to startle you.
Slowing down time, but making you go really fast. And so, yeah, Emily agrees to this deal to keep on bringing this snaily guy some food in terms of using the hat. And she is able to use the hat to do a bunch of different stuff so that she can ultimately play with Candace. But it turns out that this snail has been using Emily this entire time to just get that sweet grub because he used the hat himself to speed up time when he was telling Emily about the terms and conditions of the hat, where if you put it on, it will make you age rapidly. So Emily is slowly Emily's starting to die, and that's when, you know, Candace is in the garden with Emily, and the snail just sucks Candace into him, and is just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use these choppy little legs to finally taste some dumplings. It's just so funny.
What's happening?
Mummy's too busy to care now, but we're going to have some fun together. Maybe go see a movie, maybe play some board games.
Or use this choppy little legs of yours to run to Chinatown so I can finally savour some pork dumplings. Run for me, my tiny beauty!
That one scene always makes me laugh, and it's just the one scene in the episode that makes me rank it so high. It's just so funny, and it eventually leads to this ultimate brawl between the snail and Emily, where Emily has to use the hat and almost re-age like all the way up to where she's literally about to turn to dust and bones, but she's able to pull it out, reverse the hat, get rid of the snail, kill the snail, and it's just, oh, it's so good. I love it. I love this episode. It's just honestly so good.
Don't you see? You need me to keep all this going.
Oh, yeah? Escort, go to hell!
It even has a wholesome happy ending where the boss is all like, oh yeah, you don't have to come in tomorrow very early. It's just really good. It has so many good moments. The snail is an amazing villain. The final climactic fight with the snail is also really good, and we just get a lot of good character moments throughout this entire episode. That's why it's ranking up this high.
But pancakes are for breakfast. We can't have breakfast for dinner.
And coming in at number 10 is going to be the episode Candace Revolution. And I actually really like the Candace episode, surprisingly. I thought I wasn't going to upon rewatch, but I think they're some of the best that the series has to offer, and this episode is no different. It's just really good. The episode has an amazing opening where it's just Josh and Candace super hyped about hot dog night. He's gonna make some hot dogs. He opens the fridge, and he just finds Alex in there. Yeah, Alex is just sitting inside the fridge. He ate all the hot dogs, so Josh has to make the unholy decision to make breakfast for dinner. And Candace, upon tasting a sweet succulent pancake instead of a usual dinner item, realizes that rules do not matter. She doesn't need to follow rules.
Breakfast for dinner?
Hey, come on, rules are important.
And this leads to just a bunch of scenes where she's absolutely losing her mind because she doesn't want to follow the rules. Like, she's drinking coffee, she's ignoring everything, she's just doing whatever she wants to do.
Candace, no coffee. It makes you aggressive.
No, it doesn't.
And this eventually leads to a hostile takeover of her entire school, turning all of these little school children into just absolute monsters and making her a warmongering child. And so Josh and Emily have to go there and try to stop her from doing all this, which leads to just the reveal of all the horrible torment she's putting a lot of the kids through. Like, some of them are being used as rims for basketball, some of them are like just being slapped in the face, some of them are just suffering. So Candace comes to her, you know, senses before she's about to drop baking soda and vinegar into a giant volcano that all of these toddlers were able to build. Yeah, it's really crazy. And she comes to her senses and realizes that she shouldn't do this, but the bully girl, I forget her name, takes over and kidnaps Candace and Josh and Emily and brings them up and is going to sacrifice them. And then we get a battle between Candace and this girl, and she's able to defeat her, saving her in the process, but the volcano goes off anyway. And yes, I know I'm just giving a summary of it, but it's just so good. There's so many great scenes. Everything leading up to this ultimate final conclusion with the battle on top of the volcano is really good. I think Candace developing this like no rules thought process was a really funny concept to explore, just because, you know, with how wild the show can get, all the things that they could try to explore with, you know, Candace reacting to this world in a adult show, it just makes it all the more enjoyable. And that final battle, the volcano going off, was really epic. It definitely deserves to be at the number 10 spot.
Okay, so the circus was in town last week, and I met some clowns who never backed down from a bet.
Now, number 9 is going to be the episode 100% No Stress Day, and this episode has so many different plot lines to follow, but I honestly just love that so much. The episode is, first of all, about Emily, who is really stressed out about, you know, a variety of things, and it eventually leads to her and Bridget going out for the day, getting a little bit high, enjoying their lives.
Depends on your tall.
Just trying to, calm down a little bit. Emily eventually gets scared because she gets too high up there, and yeah, she's just not having a very good time, so she's just doing all these different shenanigans. Well, Josh, on the other hand, is, first of all, creating a video game called Ladder World, and he's just trying to, get all the kinks out with it, and eventually he is told to go and get ham at the store. A supposedly simple task, but there's no ham anywhere because apparently one company is just buying all of the ham, and then a little, other side plot that's going on. There are apparently these really muscular clowns that are after Alex for some reason because he made a bet with them that they couldn't make a dog out of their inflatables, and their inflatables in this case are their penises.
Okay, so the circus was in town last week, and I met some clowns who never backed down from a bet. So I told him, I bet you can't make a giraffe. I was like, ha! That's just a dog. And he said, wait for it.
Yes. They inflate their dicks and stretch them into balloon animals. Yeah, wasn't expecting that, but did I laugh extremely hard? Yes, because it's so goddamn funny. And then we just get all these plots eventually merging. I mean, you have Emily just trying to, have a no stress day and it's not working out. Josh and Alex try to go and find this ham, and they meet the ham villain, and the ham villain wants to kill them for trying to take the ham. So Josh has to activate his brain and save them and run away from the ham man.
Thank you, brain.
I'm limitless!
And then you have the clowns also chasing them that all just collides back at the house, and they all decide that they're going to play a game in Ladder World, and if they're able to, win in Ladder World, then they're going to kill them. But if Josh and Emily and all of them are able to win in Ladder World, then it's going to be fair as square, and it's going to end right there. And yeah, they just play Ladder World, and it's Josh's world, and Emily loves this game. She's just so badass at it that they're able to defeat the clowns and the ham people in just one really crazy episode. It's just honestly so much fun. I enjoy this episode a lot. There's so much going on in it, but that just makes it all the better.
Sex it up a little, Say some of that stuff you said on our honeymoon.
Don't worry, it happens to a lot of guys.
And number 8 is going to be the episode Prank Wars, and in this episode, Josh is feeling left out because all of his buddies at work leave him out of a prank war, so this leads to Josh starting his own prank war to everybody in the house. Nobody really wants to even remotely participate in this, but the montage that we get of Josh doing all these pranks is a lot of fun, even though it keeps backfiring for him. I enjoyed that. And eventually he goes to their club where Bridget and Emily are singing, and his pranks just keep on backfiring, so he's about to go home and quit, and that's when a random guy jumps out of a bush, jump scares him, and Josh thinks that's the greatest prank ever, so he wants him to do it to Emily and Bridget. The guy sees them coming, and he falls immensely in love with Bridget. He can't believe the woman that he's seeing, and so he jumps out to scare them, and they brutally attack him, knocking him out cold and putting him into a coma. So Bridget and Emily get arrested and are going to be put on trial for the murder of this guy if he doesn't wake up. And then on the other hand, at the hospital, while they're, trying to get this guy to wake up, Candace is hanging out with Alex, and Alex gives Candace some candy. And this leads to her turning into a ape-like savage monster.
Are you? Oh! Hold on! Hey! Whoa, 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 whoa! Candace, be careful!
Crawling on the ceiling, crawling on all fours, just turning into an absolute monster, a fiend with that sugar rush, and it's honestly just so hilarious. I love it so much. And so those are 2 little plots going on, and eventually Josh realizes that he needs the help of Candace and some more candy to get all the way to the jail in order to get Bridget to try to wake this guy up, and they use Candace to pull the bed like a little demon monster. It's really hilarious, and they get all the way there, and the way that Bridget is able to wake this guy up is by twisting his nipples because he likes Bridget, so she just grabs it and says Valhalla or some shit like that, twists him, and the guy wakes up right away.
Twist him! Twist him!
And that's that. It's a really funny episode. It's one of the first ones in the series, and I think it does a really good job of portraying the concept, the characters, just every single, joke hits really well. I could just enjoy the entire thing. That's why it's ranking up so high.
I think Josh is being seduced. He doesn't realize it yet, but once he does, I'm worried it'll be too late.
And number 7 is going to be the episode Room Parents, and in this episode it's just chaos when the school teacher asks if anybody will be this year's room parent. Everything just evolves into just fiery madness until Josh walks out of the bathroom. He doesn't know what he's signing up for, so he raises his hand.
Joshua, would you like to volunteer to be room parent?
That sounds pretty cool.
Josh?
And that makes him room parent for the year for the classroom. And, you know, Josh being Josh, he's all for it. He's all for trying to help Candace out. And there is one other girl that is also a room parent. And she seems to be taking a liking to the Joshin. She wants that Josh. She wants to sleep with Josh. It's very apparent. And I really like all the scenes of Emily watching them thinking Josh is going to cheat on her. But in reality, Josh is just completely oblivious to the fact that she even remotely is interested in Josh. Until it gets to, you know, the twist part where Josh is going over to her house in order to do some room parent stuff, and Emily is there because she doesn't really feel comfortable with it and wants Josh to break it off. And that's when they realize some very, very weird things about her. I mean, at the beginning of this episode, we saw her child just, you know, going down the slide in a dark way, a very ominous way, and then Josh walks up to her kid and discovers that there is no kid at all.
TV, my daughter's the same. Wait a minute, why does your arm feel like it's filled with straw? Oh my god!
This lady has been lying and has been pulling the strings this entire time and performing heists where she will steal a couple $100s from kindergartners and their room parents. Yeah, it's a very poor, like, you know, decision if you want to make a lot of money, but hey, I mean, if you want to just be consistent and make like $100 for every time you rob somebody, sure, go for it. And she ties up Josh and Emily and is going to try and steal all of the money from the room parents at this big charity donation event, and this leads to Josh and Emily escaping and Josh having this final climactic battle against her.
Pier! Oh my god! You're so funny.
Where she has a gun, they're fighting on top of a train, but Josh is barely able to outsmart her, switching out her fake dummy child for the room parent money, and she goes flying off of this train into a thermometer factory because she was making fun of the fact that all the money was put into a giant thermometer. Yeah, very weird, and a very fair way to die.
Joke's on you!
Billy! How could you?
She just flies all the way into it, explodes, boom, she's gone, in a really good episode. This episode was action-packed. The beginning of it was honestly hilarious with all the Josh being really oblivious to all the very weird advancements, and then the plot twist where she doesn't even actually have a child, although it was kind of very obvious with the ominous scene at the beginning, was still pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think she was a great villain for the episode and made the episode a lot better.
Josh, we need to talk. I'm horny, happy. You've gotten so healthy. What I'm trying to sex is...
And at number 6 is going to be the episode Josh Gets Shredded, and this is the episode that is probably the most recognizable episode in the entire series. It's all about Josh not being able to lift Candace up. His spine literally breaks when he tries to lift her, and that's their whole thing.
Dad?
So this leads to Josh working out solely so that he could lift up Candace again and be the good dad that he wants to be. The only problem is that he gets really into working out, and I mean really into working out. So much so that he just keeps on training, neglecting Candace, and just becoming a giant mass monster. He wants to become a absolute unit. That is his ultimate goal. That's what he wants to be. So he just keeps on working out nonstop. Emily wants to try to put a stop to this, but every time she just sees Josh's hunky little body, she just can't bring it to words. She can't tell Josh to stop.
God, he's so freaking hot. Josh, we need to talk. I'm horny, happy.
No matter how much Josh just keeps on pushing himself, and this leads to him doing the ultimate challenge where he has to become an absolute unit by completing a certain amount of workouts in a certain amount of time, and he's able to do it. He literally kills his coach right after, but he just turns into this giant flaming mass monster.
You're the king. King, Kong? Candace!
Just like King Kong, and he wants to go and play with Candace, and so he kidnaps Candace, climbing up a giant building, just like in King Kong, basically.
Yes, inner peace.
Play with Candace!
Dad?
I know perfect place play King Kong!
And eventually he has a heart-to-heart with Candace, explaining that he has to keep big so that he could keep playing with her, and Candace says she doesn't want that, she just wants to play with her dad in other ways, and so he's perfectly fine with that, and he gets shot down, and he falls all the way down, which causes Josh to lose all of his gains, but overall, a really good episode. You would think that Josh, just working out wouldn't result in one of the best plots in the series, but it does, and it makes one of the most memorable episodes out of it all. Everything with Josh working out, getting swole was really funny, really good. All of Emily's reactions were a lot of fun, and then that big finale where he literally turns into King Kong and kidnaps Candace was also really good, and a wholesome ending just to top it all off. Makes one of the better episodes for this series.
And after that, I sharpen a narwhal tusk, puncture the heel of my left foot, and use the blood to summon the demon song god Nishquantazi.
And number 5 is going to be the episode Canine Guy, and this episode has 2 major plot points. It's going to be Josh and Alex going to medieval times, doing some Jim Carrey shenanigans, and just celebrating this yearly anniversary of the time that they went to medieval times and just watched a medieval show. But Alex slowly falls out of love with this, so Josh has to try to find a new friend to go with, and that's when he meets Dog Boy, a literal just dog guy.
Meet Dog!
That isn't supposed to exist in this world. I should mention that Close Enough doesn't have anthropomorphic living animal people. Those don't exist, so Josh is very surprised by this. But Dog Boy turns out to just be really cool, really enjoyable, and a nice bro to hang out with. He knows all the Jim Carrey references, so Josh and him get along swimmingly. But he also meets Alex, and he loves Alex as well because he likes all of Alex's writing, so they all just become best buds. And then you have Emily and Bridget's side of the story, which is also pretty enjoyable, with them just going out into the woods to try to get some time away from Candace so that they have enough time to properly write a new song. And they are, struggling with this immensely, and they eventually meet Weird Al in the woods. Yeah, and so Weird Al is just giving them some tips, and then he gets mauled by a bear wearing a hat out of nowhere, and Weird Al just dies? What the fuck?
Song God?
Yeah!
Is that part of the process?
No, that's a bear. I just wanted a goatee parody!
Why did that happen? But either way, Emily and Bridget start getting chased by all of these other animals wearing a bunch of different items of apparel. There's a skunk with big ears. Yeah, it's really funny. I just like all their tiny outfits. I enjoyed that a lot. And then going back to Josh and Alex, they're trying to help Dog Boy escape its creator, this lady who is apparently making him solely so that he could try and make it into a good actor. Yeah, it's a very weird concept, but either way, I thought it was really funny. So at the same time, they're trying to escape with Dog Boy, Emily and Bridget are stumbling upon this lab as well, and apparently this lady is the one who has created so many of these different creatures. That's why they're all wearing clothes, and this leads to Josh and Alex releasing a little scream that is able to subdue all the animals and free Dog Boy, and the mad scientist lady gets arrested by Pearl for having unpaid parking tickets, not the weird experiments on animals. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire episode. I really liked everything with Dog Boy, all of his interactions with Josh and Alex, the bond that they were able to form. Everything with Emily and Bridget was a lot of fun. All of those animals and the outfits was really good. Good chase scene, good ending, good finale. Just a really funny episode that definitely deserves to be this high up on the list.
Oh, hey, are you on a tour? Here, your parents probably won't let you watch this show, but have you seen this one?
And coming in at number 4, it's going to be the episode Halloween Enough. And this is Close Enough's version of Terror Tales in the Park, Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, whatever you want to call it. It's just a bunch of short stories told by all of our characters in that non-canon format that I love so much. And first of all, before we actually talk about that, I just want to talk about the costumes that they're all wearing. Josh is literally wearing a Blue Jay outfit that looks like Mordecai. I thought that was so funny when I first saw him walk out wearing the Blue Jay just skin around him, and he's just like, whoa! That was hilarious. Love that callback. The show is just full of regular show references, and I'm all for it. But either way, they all start telling their stories. Josh tells a story about how Alex went to a Margaritaville and got turned into a vampire by Margaritaville vampires, and so he tries to go back to the house and convert everybody else into a vampire.
A beloved upstairs neighbor, Phil. Couldn't help but notice you guys were fighting some vampires. So, I thought I'd stop by
And this eventually leads to him calling all of his vampire friends, and they all have to try and help to kill them all because they're trying to eat their friends, and Alex didn't want that. And it's honestly just really cool. The battle against all the vampires, Alex ends up being brutally murdered by Randy because he doesn't understand that Alex is on their side now.
Fun.
Back from whence you came, Hellspawn!
It's just really good. It's a lot of fun. Margarita Vampires was a very good short story. And then you go over to Bridget's, which I liked a little bit less, but it was still pretty good. It's all about Bridget getting divorced with Alex, and so she buys a brand new house, but this house is haunted, and she just is live streaming it until the house starts to try and kill them. And that's when it realizes that it just needs all of that fame, all of that sweet, succulent, good stuff. And so a bunch of people are just allowed to come in there, hang out, and just take photos, and that's all the house ever really wanted. Alex gets murdered for some reason, of all people. It was still really funny. I enjoyed it nonetheless.
Man-child, I shouldn't have worn shorts to your grandmother's funeral.
And then you just have the final story, which is Josh and Emily forget to get a pumpkin for Candace to carve, so Emily has to find this one in like this lab that is just surrounded by satanic symbols, and this leads to them, you know, carving that pumpkin, and then it turns into a giant pumpkin monster, and this just leads to Candace defeating it with a blender. This one was also just a little bit underwhelming, so I really like the Margarita Vampires. I thought the one with Bridget's house was okay. This one at the end was also just okay, but then what just tops it all off is just right after this last story, Candace just says, haha, that wasn't really that scary, and then she just wakes up in the Cartoon Network studios, yes, of all things, and she's just running around really confused, seeing like rooms where they're trying to pitch the stories. She walks into the room with the voice actors who are genuinely like voicing her, voicing Emily, and it's just really weird. She's just in shock. Josh shows up, and she's like, yeah, I bet your parents wouldn't let you watch this show, but what about this show? And then he just shows her a sticky note of regular show, and she just runs away screaming.
Oh, hey, are you on a tour? Here, your parents probably won't let you watch this show, but have you seen this one?
Oh, it's just so good. I just love everything that's meta about it. All the references, just like making fun of the fact that they're all just working on the show. It was just so good, and it makes the episode so much better, and one of the best that Close Enough has to offer.
Can you teach me how to ollie like the goosh?
The cashier? Nah, he doesn't know what he's doing.
And at number 3 is going to be the episode Skate Dad. And in this episode, Josh is trying to connect with Candace with his old toys. We get some great scenes out of that. I really like the one with the bear. I think it's hilarious.
All right, Candace, this guy right here is Teddy Ruxpin.
Hi, can you and I be friends?
Oh, dude!
But he eventually stumbles upon his skateboard and realizes that he wants to teach Candace how to skate. So they even go to the store, they get a skateboard, and they start going, but Josh literally just busts his balls, breaks them. And just can't really use his pelvic area very well. This leads to the Goosh, this really good skateboarder teaching Candace, and Josh is just not handling this at all. He hates this. It's supposed to be daddy-daughter skate time, and so he challenges the Goosh to go down this giant, massive hill, and whoever, you know, gets all the way to the bottom is the better skater. And they're just arguing at the top of the hill, and Candace accidentally goes down. Emily chases after her, and they're just bombing down this hill, and they're going to literally die if somebody doesn't go and save them. And so Josh and the Goosh start going down, and Josh is all like, Goosh, I got this, Goosh, I gotta do this for my family. And this leads to Josh performing a heroic act of getting down there on a skateboard, picking up his family and carrying them, but in the process, in order to, you know, keep them from not dying while bombing down this giant hill, he has to sacrifice his balls even more, literally letting them scrape against the floor, hitting everything.
Go under, go under!
catching them on fire before he goes up off of a ramp and lands in a pool. But yeah, he just destroys his balls, and it's just so funny, and it's one of the best episodes in Close Enough. I just can't get enough of it. I mean, it's got some really wholesome family moments, and then just coupled with all of those great skating moments, it just makes for such a good one.
Only old people use Facebook.
No, I meant Snapchat, Venmo, look at me floss.
And at number 2 is going to be the episode Logan's Run. And in this episode, Josh and Emily make the horrible realization that they are basically old people now. They don't want to do anything on a Saturday night, so they go on a journey to prove that they are not old. They could still hang with them kids. They could still party it up. So Alex tags along, goes with Bridget to this club called Logan's Run. And they just start partying, having a good time, drinking it up, and Josh and Emily feel like they've been partying all night, and they turn the lights on, but it was just a mistake, and they've only been partying for 10 minutes, even though it feels like they've been there forever. Alex, on the other hand, is just, doing some psychedelics, just getting down and jiggy with it, just having a great old time, and Josh and Emily are just coming to terms with the fact that they're old, and they're thinking about leaving, until this one old guy walks up there, says something a little bit old, and everybody just literally murders him, says that he's going to be a VIP, but he just gets sucked up into this fan in the ceiling, and he dies.
That? How do you get to be a VIP?
VIP! Oh my god, it's so beautiful.
Huh? Whoa, what? No!
Oh my god!
Holy crap!
Yeah. Crazy plot twist, but I loved it so much. It's what I love about Close Enough. I just think all these random things that just randomly happen in the episode that make it so much better is just so good. It just honestly feels like classic regular show, but just more adult themed, with a person getting sucked up into a fan and just made into juice. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. And then there's a little side plot with Bridget here that I actually didn't really enjoy. I think all the good stuff outweighs it enough to still give it the number 2 spot, but she's trying to get with this influencer guy, and he starts talking about toddler stuff, and he takes off his clothes, and it reveals that he's actually just a baby.
What? Oh my god, you're a baby?
Wearing adult clothes. Yeah, wasn't really a fan of that. I thought that was a little bit weird, but everything else with Josh and Emily trying to, appear young, and they eventually get discovered by this guy who is the head of the club, and Josh is just like, no, I'm young, check it out, and he just starts flossing.
Only old people use Facebook.
No, I meant Snapchat, Venmo, look at me floss.
I laughed so hard at that when I was rewatching the show. I think it was the hardest that I laughed in the entire series. Maybe it's just because, I just found that humor so funny, where it's just this 28 or 29-year-old man is just like, I'm hip, so he just starts flossing. Oh, that was so good. And this eventually leads to them almost being killed, until it's revealed that the club owner is actually old himself, and so they just, kill him instead. Yeah, good stuff. Liked it a lot. Very good episode. Definitely deserves the number 2 spot.
To understand how we got here, you've got to know the legend. The legend of Sauceface.
And coming in at number 1 on this list, my personal favorite episode in the entire series is going to be Sauceface. This episode is a reference to the drug trade movie Scarface from the 1980s, and they do it so well. It's a Candace episode, and I think it's one of the most well-rounded episodes in the entire series. The plot flows absolutely perfectly. It's all about how hot sauce gets banned at her elementary school, and so she becomes the trade ambassador for all of the hot sauce, selling it in alleyways to all these different kids who are just fiending for it because they need it on their tacos, on their food, wherever it might be. they need that sweet, succulent hot sauce. So Candace basically starts this entire business just trying to find a bunch of different ways to smuggle it to a bunch of different grades, a bunch of different classes, everywhere around the school. And you get Campbell being the villain in this episode, trying to figure it out and trying to uncover Sauceface. All while Candace is just becoming more and more of a crime boss.
My Nana loves me so much.
Hey, cut it out! Never cross me again, Jade.
Literally just getting workers, starting to treat them horribly, and starting to just be focused on the money, because in reality, the only reason they were doing this was to buy a drone, but Candace sees the opportunity, the money, what they could possibly have if they just keep on going, and they just start going too far. She's trying to start up a trade with a entire another school, and that's when chaos devolves a little bit, and everybody just starts attacking everybody. Campbell walks in, but Candace's best friend takes the fall for it and is blamed for being Sauceface and is going to get expelled from the school. That's until Candace comes up with an amazing plan to make it look like Sauceface is still in, play, still going around. They didn't actually capture Sauceface, and this leads to Campbell just chasing down Candace in this awesome epic chase scene, leading him all the way to the shed, where it turns out that Candace just used the money to buy a brand new exercise bike for Mr. Campbell, and Sauceface was never actually a real person.
You're cornered, Sauceface!
It was just a secret to buy Campbell a brand new bike. In reality, it was to get a drone. But hey, Candace had to save her best friend, and it's just so good. The episode flows so well. It's honestly hilarious. I didn't think when I was making this video that a Candace episode was going to rank all the way up to the top, but I genuinely just think that this is probably the best episode that they made. It's just so good. I think it has the best plot, just the best use of the characters in it, and it just works so well, even without Josh, Emily, Alex, or Bridget. It's just an amazing episode, and it definitely deserves the #1 spot. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I make content like this all the time, and you don't want to miss it. So yeah, plenty of good stuff on the way. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.